I have grown up
Yes.
with a man in the house who used handkerchiefs.
Oh, God. Okay.
Handkerchiefs,
We're
right?
back. We're back to this, guys. Okay.
So I then and I was disgusted. I do not want your handkerchief and your boogies dancing with my clothes as they get washed. This is vile. I was against from every core being, moment, theory. I got a runny nose, and my precious skin around my runny nose.
Okay, can you hear my duck lips, everyone?
Stings at the thought of even the softest with lotion tissue. And I went on Amazon and I purchased like 12 little handkerchiefs, like 12 whatever, and they just came in the mail, and I'm putting them in the laundry, and I'm going to see if wiping your face with something soft and wonderful is less horrifying than the seasonal cold everyone gets and the wiping of the I think because we're getting older too, our skin is getting thinner, and for you to hack away at it with a tissue, even with the most lotion and support, it hurts.
I have got such a nasal situation right now. I fear that if I describe it prior to the setup,
such a nasal
we're going to lose. We're going to lose the
Listeners?
precious many listeners we have now. And with that, I'm going to defer to you, fair Melissa.
Men versus women, strange foods, and do vegans swallow? All this and more on today's Brilliant Observations. Do. Maybe I sound better with your cold.
I can't even think about do vegan swallow right now with the state.
All right, let's jump right in.
And nasal cavities, because there's just no way. The logistics of air circulation alone, would result in my demise. It would kill me. I would be dead. There's no way to survive it. And I gotta think also, is it really worth death? I fear that men will have a different answer to this question than the ladies. But is it really worth death to perform this act? Honestly. Okay, over to you, Melissa. Good morning, Melissa. How are you?
I want to know all the acts you're performing.
As we kick it off with our fellatio discussion, Happy New Year.
Okay, jumping right in. Happy New Year, everyone. So far, so good on the one day in and saying less. So I'll keep you abreast of all things, Melissa. Do vegan swallow? That came up this week, and I thought, no. I'm going to go with no, because if you're going from I want no animal byproducts in my mouth,
body,
then
consumption.
Body, then I'm going to say
but I gotta jump in.
Technically.
No, I gotta jump in.
Go
Yeah,
ahead.
protein source. Yeah, building block of life. Get it. But here's the other thing. I think that vegans
I think you're sexier with that voice. Yeah.
concerned with consent.
There you go.
I think they're concerned with consent. They do not wish.
Of the cow?
They do not wish to extract labor, production, life force, energy. They do not wish to take from that which is subjugated. In the case of the sex act, consent is granted.
Is given.
Right? So this is a mutual endeavor where the other party, the protein giver, is providing this labor as part of the exchange. Does that alter the vegan equation? Also, subsection B, is it food? So are they really consuming
I stopped at the protein giver.
Okay.
Stopped at protein
I don't
giver.
want to do it.
I
don't want to do it.
there.
And I eat and kill chickens, and I still don't want to do this. So, I mean, it's I guess it used to be
But a
great.
vegan,
It used to be
even a-
great. It used to be great, and I'm really good on it. It used to be great, and it's just like, I don't know. I just can't get my head out of it. It just feels.
Well, you can get it out, but then back in, then back out, then back
I just
in,
picture
then back
all
out.
these. No, it just feels like Some people are like, this is my favorite thing. I'm not really sure why. And I wonder if they're just deluding themselves. But yes, they do. Maybe it's a power thing. Because you got a lot of power in that moment. You got a lot of power in that moment.
It might be.
Yeah, I have all the power.
I see the joy.
I have all I want and more to spare. I don't crave it. I don't need it. I'm actively trying to divest it. It's not my bag, baby. Not interested.
Somebody steal my power.
I don't need sex is not about power. It's about my pleasure. Very selfish lover. And it sounds
I guess
so
it
sexy
shouldn't
right
be
now.
about power. I have a sexy voice.
Yes, watch me as I
After that,
perform the flemlatio on you. It's disgusting.
well, your issue now is you can't breathe out of your mouth.
Yes.
So if you were to use your
would
mouth
die.
for other
I would
activities,
die.
you would die.
I have a hard time
so
drinking
death
liquids.
by fellatio,
Bingo. Essa bingo. That's
that would be horrible.
a bingo. Death by fellatio.
Wouldn't that be horrible?
Yes, it would be horrible. And that's why we come all the way back to the beginning, where we always should. Full circle moment. Like the snake that never ends, the dick in a circle. And that leads us back to, is this act worth death? And the answer is no, it's not. The snake that eats its own head. Why don't you blow yourself? Now we're full circle. Go blow yourself.
Yo,
Happy
I don't
New
want
Year.
to start that phrase. Do not start that hashtag, because if men figure out a way to do that, they will understand completely how we feel that we don't need them and they don't need us.
No, are you
Like, we're
kidding? It's work.
living
They're
on this
never going to
planet.
adopt more work when they can have someone else do it for them. Come on, be real. We talk about it all the time. Don't we have other things to talk about? You would not do this. You would not, if you could Prestel twits. Okay.
Yeah, I got it. Keep going. Push
if you
through.
could Prestel
Everybody gets
twist
it.
And
Yes. you
place
got it right.
your face into the nethers and and take care of whatever you need to do. All right, Pilates,
What would I
hooray!
do?
Don't just you did. I can't. My nose has got a lot of phlegm.
What was that sound?
Look it, I can't have sexy time sound talk when my nose is filled up like this. I don't know what you expect from me. My teeth hurt. I got a toothache from my teeth.
Oh no, that's so much worse than a
It's
cold.
because I feel
That's
like
so much
I
worse.
gave myself a toothache from having too many Halls eucalyptus up in my mouth from the oversleeps, and then I wake up still coughing, and now my tooth hurts.
You threw a topic at me this week that I found the only thing I could think about all
what?
week, and it wasn't my de vegan swallow, by the
That's a
way.
surprise.
It was
Yeah, what?
the universal conversation starter, the difference between men and women, the truth about cats and dogs, whatever you want to phraseology
Right.
it, that has really captured me. And I would like you to introduce it because it's yours. But also, I have a spin, and I don't want people to come at you with, women talk about that too. I don't want any of
honey,
the bullshit.
Come
I
at
want
me with
just
your bullshit. I mean, you presume that I would pay attention to anyone coming at me and then actually be so moved to respond. Bring your bullshit. Bring bags and bags of bullshit. It's okay. I'm not
Okay.
looking. When's the last time you've seen me anywhere on any social to hear anything? They can't find me. I'm elusive. All right, so here's how it goes. I have had the opportunity in the wild, whilst separating myself. You can hear that I'm sick, and this is all due to my middle child. We can trace a lot of the ills in the world back to one source. In this case, it's him. Okay. He has
Aw.
sickened me, and did so accidentally over Christmas holiday when we were all trapped in the cabin of a car riding home, and he starts a so now I'm the carrier, and just we've been spreading it around and around. After Christmas, we immediately emptied the car, refilled the car, drove to Orlando, Florida for a 4-day national lacrosse tournament. I wanted to limit my path of destruction. So I consciously separated hello, everybody. I'm not going to shake your hand. I'm not going to kiss you. I'm not going to hug you. I'm going to sit over here. So I was not with the team. I was always alone on the bleachers or standing over to the side, and really an observer of observers, right? Instead of being right in my sideline pack and socializing and doing all the things. Okay. And I noticed several things. The first of which is the national upper echelon first, second national teams vying for best in everywhere all the time. Every aspect of their team is athletic. All of their parents, all of their supporters, every one of the adults, every one of the players look as if they could be the coaching staff for a university. Contrast that with most of the other teams we encounter anywhere all year long. You look like the wide assortment of humans on the planet. So it was very odd to see these, maybe that's why all these kids are behaving like athletic robots. It's because they have the Nike management team as their genetic material. Okay. So anyway,
It's a way of life.
so that
not
got
a
me to observing
sport.
and thinking. And then I also, not having much to contribute, throat sore, nose sore, not really in the conversations, listening. I am well aware that I don't know how to talkie sport. Okay? I don't. And I don't care to. I'm there to make sure nobody dies, that everyone knows that they're loved, and yay. That's why I'm there. Okay? And to make them drink water and eat the food. That's why I'm there. Right,
Eat
okay.
snacks. Right.
I'm not there to all this business. So I started
Someone else
picking
has
up
that job,
terms. I started
right?
picking up terms that I've heard 1,000 times, and I thought, maybe I should learn what this is. For example, I learned a football term this week, and it's called a pick six, and I now know exactly what that is and what it's not. And up until this time, I thought it was just a gambling term. I didn't realize it had anything to do. I didn't really know why or care. So all these things, because there's a pick in lacrosse, which is different than a pick in football, which is different than a pick six in football, which is different than a moving
And
pick
basketball.
in lacrosse. These are all
Right.
different kinds of picks, and I find that vernacular lazy. So the reason I'm bringing this up to you is that all the men immediately, in every environment, at the hotel lobby breakfast, on the sidelines, at casual dinners, walking to and from the fields, in the elevators, no matter where they're, the parking lots, you can be talking about anything at all, and there's eyes, just people scanning, looking, heads back and forth like a little radar going back and forth. And then someone will say any random sports term. It can be the name of a team. It can be a sideline item. It can be a number that represents a winning score. And then all the men, they begin talking and laughing and referencing their phones, and arms get folded and into the pockets and around the shoulders and patting each other and nodding and winking and clucking their tongues. They are all talking about every sport simultaneously with each other like they've been studying for a test.
It's a universal male
You don't have
language.
to know this person. They can be on the opposing team. They can be any race, any religion. They will immediately fall into banter that is Band of Brothers like. It's like military people comparing what tour you did. They instantly know and want to, yeah. Can you believe this? And now they're talking about people 6 coaches deep, some controversy, the way somebody parked. Like, so stupid. Can you believe that? How? How can they have all this knowledge? It's shared.
That's not the question. That's not the question that got my attention. Yes, men have
We
and
have-
go
we
off
got nothing.
on, and
We have no unifying characteristic.
that's the
We
question.
have nothing.
Women.
They have it. Even the men who don't like sport somehow understand that genetically they're required to participate in this discourse with the basic level of awareness. They get it. It's like it's issued them. So where's ours? And don't tell me it's fucking fingernails, because I can't handle it. I mean, what would it be?
Who would tell you that? That's
a
crazy.
pretty close
okay,
one.
so
I got a lot of fingernail talk.
I've never discussed fingernails.
I get a lot
of
fingernail talk.
So in my straw poll, I came up with fitness, which absolutely feeds into the why aren't men talking about that? They're talking about other men's fitness is what they're talking about when it comes to sport. Fitness, food.
But you really, because if somebody was to come up to me and talk to me about fitness, I will stare at them politely and think, aren't you charming? And then I'll, wait for the subject to shift, or I'll move. I don't know that I'm really going to discuss fitness with a lady, but keep going.
My daughter's bestie, they're all home now for the holiday, or at least for another 4 days. She came over. She goes to UNC.
Oh,
and
welcome.
she works for
A
the
Tar
football
Heel.
team.
Yeah, nice.
And she's employed there and works hard, and she's another 4-0 delight. And she made a comment about, the but where does she go to the bathroom, right? Where does she's on a men's thing, the whole
Right.
sports thing. But also she said in the South,
Uh-huh.
people are nice to your face, but even the things they say are mean. They
Yeah.
don't mean the nice things they say. And I'm like, is this a bless her heart kind of thing where they're like, she's a fucking dick is what they really mean. So I said, my girlfriend lives down there and her son goes to NC State, and yeah, we've had a whole podcast about the fact
Right.
that you say one thing. Oh, that's not what that means, Melissa. She's not blessing anything. She's cursing, if anything. Like, that's not nice.
Just as a brief aside to help explain that, it's not that I perceive Southern culture as inherently duplicitous. I don't. Quite the opposite. Southern culture has some conflicting elements, and the way it's resolved is through this false nice. Okay? The conflicting elements are you disapprove of whatever you're witnessing, encountering, experiencing, right? And you want to talk about it and you want to call it out and shame it. However, to do so
You're too
would-
polite for
would
that.
be a violation. Would be a violation of you, mama, don't
Southern.
raise you right. You know.
Right.
So which one of these dictums do you break? Well, you break neither. And they have come up with a whole weird workaround of we're going to politely overclass you by not even ultimately letting you know the subtlety with which you've just been iced. And those in the know. So it's like a cast, click, put down system. Yeah. And it's a lot of work. It's a lot of code. It is very, can I say, it is very New York City like, in that there's a lot of shit going on in New York City that you don't even know that you've just been put down hard. So it's not about you. It's about the people who are putting you down for themselves. They're not trying actively to hurt you. It's like this has to happen. It's my cultural obligation to put you down. So here I go. And now we all laugh about it and off we go. I'm not trying to change you. So I mean, in that way, it's very French. There's a lot of these cultures that have this kind of thing where this is how it's going to be. And if you get it, okay, maybe you should change who you are. So that's what's going on. It's very different than the traditional South Philly Yankee structure.
Yeah,
that
she's a
I was
Yankee. She
raised
don't
in.
like it. Yeah.
No, where it's very
Where they
direct.
call you out,
Where it's
right.
very direct. And it's the reason to call someone out as a South Philly Yankee is to change and alter the behavior of the other person. That is not what is happening here in the South. What is happening here in the South is for other people to acknowledge this behavior is wrong.
You're an idiot.
It's
right.
not to change you. It's for them to chastise the behavior, honestly, without you really knowing, which is weird because it just makes everybody uncomfortable. I mean, I don't know. They have all these, and they're
She didn't love it. She didn't
it's
love
weird.
it. It was,
and then you have to work so hard to figure out what's wrong. So anyway, I don't do it. I don't do it at
Okay.
all.
So I'm very sorry for that dog leg, but I thought it was funny that, isn't that special? Like, oh, no, that's
Yeah.
not what she means by that. Be
Yeah.
careful. All right. So women have the concept of fitness, which infuriated me the second he said it. Because it was a man who gave me this idea as a
I don't
list
think
of
it's
what women
I
talk about.
absolutely don't think it's a parallel in the same way that nails infuriated you.
Yeah, I've never
I give
spoken about
fitness
nails.
I give fitness a 35%. I'll give it a 48%. Nails, I'll give it 35%. Universality.
What do you give food?
87%.
But that's universal. That's men too.
No, just women.
Really?
87% women, 51% men. Yeah. Because men talk about it. We have to get more specific. If you talk about food as a foodie and appreciator,
Right.
we're getting in some real high low B numbers for men, high A's for women, right? If you want to layer in someone who is engaged in food, someone who is cooking food, growing food, highly beyond just consuming it,
Right.
that's a more niche person, and also usually a snottier person, a chef, yeah.
The last two that I was gifted
Yes.
recently
Yes.
were also infuriated me. It was books, book club,
Okay, I don't hate that one that much. All right.
and wine. Wine was the other one. And
I
remember
love that one. Oh,
remember
no,
how
I see
upset
where
I get about it being what defines you? You're
No,
a
when
wine girl?
the good news for me is when I hear wine out of context, I immediately think of the power dynamic. I think about established estates. I think about industry. I think about generational wealth. I think about
That's not how they meant
nice
it.
big. No, they mean I've got a plastic tumbler shaped like a flip flop that also has a spike in it, so I can carry it with me everywhere and have it stand up when I'm too drunk to hold it. That's not
Mommy's
wine.
juice. I'm drinking mommy juice
No.
right now.
Yeah,
I'm a
that's
mommy and I
not-
don't drink your fucking juice.
When you're buying for volume, you're not really interested in. Yeah, I get you.
Does
That's
it
not,
come in a box? I'm just Sutter home curious. Is it the box wine
wow.
or
I've had some delightful box wines. I've even had a delightful whatever it's called a Pachus Ponchus Swings bag. What do they call them? Where don't make these eyes at me. You know what it is. It's got the
you mean
spigot.
like the little bladder with the
it's got the spigot, and then it's like the Davy Crockett, and then you
Yeah,
sling it
I've
around
seen
your
this.
back, and then and you get all your wine out of it. I like those. Those are delightful. I like a wine. It can be all kinds, and the wine doesn't like me. I can't. That's another thing I can't do now.
Yeah, I
that
don't
I'm
drink
older.
wine. So when they say women
hurtful.
are wine drinkers and the only ones in the book club and the this and that, that's what women have to talk about. I'm like, well, what were the last conversations I've had with my women? Well, we talk about our families and our children.
I believe parenting / I think parenting, we've got to be real clear.
Yeah.
Families,
Fa-
right?
family,
so if you want to
children,
talk
yeah,
about
parenting.
like children and parenting,
Yes.
that might be our sports. And that sickens me. That might be our sports. You can
Well, it is a
universally
sport for me.
You can universally talk about
You can.
kids. You can universally talk about the bright shining star. You can universally talk about the slap him or her in the face. You can universally talk about why don't they listen. You can universally talk. That's it. Who had that one? Did you
Well,
find that one?
The other one was what you're watching on TV, like Bravo Channel. And I said, go fuck yourself, and walked away. I was like, And then I realized I watch like 3 of the 7 Real Housewives when they're on. And I watch,
A
I
lot
don't
of
know.
people watch those shows. I'm surprised. They're
Men too.
telling me a lot of people watch those shows. I'm sure at some point I'll try them, but they're not drawing me in. I watched The Recruit. My mom wanted something for us to watch together. Did I already say this to you?
No, but it's in our list. We're going to start it
My
today.
mom wanted something for Christmas that we could just sit and watch together, and for whatever reason,
Smart.
none of the things, and the kids were like, Bullet Train. I'm like, yeah, we're not watching Bullet Train. Comedy violence is not where we're going on Christmas. So my mom was like, well, how about this one? I've already seen it, but I know I really like it, and you and I can just binge it. So they went away, and we sat there and got all the way through it. It's worth a little watch. It's on the lights. It's also, let me just, as I continue this dog leg, my dad's retired military. So his perspective on the thing as he watched it was to get frustrated at a lot of the stuff and, in disbelief and incredulous and all. Because, it's at a certain point, you're watching a cop drama with a cop. It's laughable to do, but then some of it is in there.
Yeah, I
There's
do
a
all the
thread in
medical
there.
shows. Yeah, medical shows with Stewart. He's like, yeah, that's wrong,
Laughable.
and that doesn't
Yeah, of
happen.
course.
What are you
Yeah.
talking about?
So you absolutely, nobody's looking for verisimilitude in The Recruit, where the guy
Right.
who's supposed to look like the Hulk before he became the Hulk. So in any event, what was curious and interesting about it is it's a little pull you through it kind of a pacing, which is nice, keeps you hooked, keeps you going. It also was this study in people in the workplace not behaving in anyone's interest but their own. So Recruit was not a great portrait of the CIA, in its joking Hollywood smear campaign take on it, but I found it entertaining. So back to task. I think parenting is the great equalizer and the great conversation universe for women, and that's sad because it should be for everybody, but it's the only comparable to sports that we have, and wine is not it.
Well, not for me. Nails are not it for me. Or wouldn't it be great if it was, referring back to our last podcast, self-care? Wouldn't it be great if it was, how did you take care of yourself well this week? How did you respect your body and your mind this week? How did you, not asking it in the kooky, hokey way I just did, but if that was the discussion, I wouldn't object to that.
Well, I don't mind asking it in the kooky hokey way you just described it. I'm always interested in getting an answer to a question.
How did you please yourself today?
Nope, that's totally wrong. Not goodbye. I will see you later. Can we enroll her from the team? No. Not interested. Not interested in that at all. Not what I'm saying. No.
Dear listener, what do you see as women's universal conversation starter? Please let us know by writing us at brilliantobservations@gmail.com. Go see us on Facebook at Brilliant Observations or Brill Ob Squad if you join that elite group, or on the other socials at Listen Brilliant. You can hashtag us with a fabulous picture at Listen or hashtag Listen Brilliant also. We would love to see what you're up to, but do let us know what you see as women's universal conversation starter. We are stymied. We don't like our choices, and we're curious what you think. Let us know.
Yeah. So I wanted to jump in and tell you something.
Jump.
I have started watching TikTok as my go-to consumptive content. I know it's wrong, but I do it, and I don't care. So I'm even taking it up with Josh Hawley, who is actively lobbying to get TikTok removed from states and phones and all these others, and successfully browbeat getting his legislation moved forward, not because it's valuable legislation, I'm sure there's merits to it, but because he threatened successfully to slow walk and hold up nominations and approvals for people into government appointed jobs until and unless this removed TikTok from all the places because I said to got through. Okay? So I've been watching TikTok. I know that the Chinese own it. I know they own the algorithm. And
Just don't buy something.
And here's how I know it. Because they have a fucking good algorithm. Fuck you, Facebook. That's just sour grapes. Because yours is shitty, and that's why you're losing money, and Americans can no longer monetize it or control it for their political means. Okay. The point that I'm watching TikTok is I scroll through very quickly. My son mocked me for my habits. He's like, you don't even watch it. And I'm like, well, I can't risk that the algorithm. I like so many disparate things. If I don't do it this way, I'll go into a K-hole of way too much wrongness. So I have to. So I skim the first, 3 to 8 seconds of each video, and then I got to move on. So I scroll.
Right away. Nope,
scroll.
That's not for me.
Okay, so I got to keep going. And this one woman, and for some reason I always like to save and bookmark the financial tips because I'm sure they're really valuable and relevant to me. So I that's really a triple waste of my time. So this one woman is talking, blah, 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 and she said randomly, and I am an accountant, which I don't like to say on TikTok because I mean I'm a real accountant, not an accountant on TikTok. Google it. And then I'm like, what? What the hell does that mean? So, of course, I went to Dr. Google, and I when you are on TikTok and call yourself an accountant, that means you a sex worker.
Shut up. I did not know that.
That's how you beat the algorithm. When people say things incorrectly, when they spell them
I
incorrectly.
know that, but I didn't know that accountant was code for sex worker.
Accountant is code for, I believe, prostitute. I believe.
Wow.
I looked it up. It was honestly going on a week or more now, so I don't remember. If I have it wrong, whatever Dr. Google tells you, we're going to trust it, gang. But in any event, if you're looking for that kind of action, maybe don't. And also, you can find what that actually is on Google and then seek it out, because I guess that's what the kids are doing these days. That led me just simply hearing it long enough to understand what I'm being told. Now the algo's got my dick. Okay? And so then I'm getting all this swinger content. Then I'm getting all this other stuff. So now I got to go back to the quickie scroll.
I heard you. I heard it.
And that's when I found the swingers pineapples. Okay?
Upside down. Yeah.
They have pineapples everywhere. And someone saying, we really do have pineapples everywhere. And and here's some other things that you don't know about swingers. So look for it. And there was rattled off this list of random. We all drive a certain kind of car, like stupid stuff.
Did everything ring true to somebody you know?
Black wedding ring. Wedding ring. If you see a guy with a black wedding ring, let me tell you. Especially if you see a guy with a black wedding ring in the gym, let me tell you. You know what that means. And I'm like, it means he's a swinger.
Believe we're on
3
such different
guys
TikToks.
on the team have black wedding rings.
Shut up.
And I don't think I like it. One of them I know quite well. Quite well. The other one, it was a solid black wedding ring. And I thought to myself, I kind of could see it. I'm very happy with my setup. Thank you.
My
I
setup.
don't think I've been invited, and I'm okay. You can pass me over for that invite. Don't need it. Thank you, guys. Have
Have
fun.
you ever-
have fun at your party?
Have
fun
you
at your
ever
big
been
swinger
invited?
party. I think I have a long time ago, but I'm so dense with that stuff. I'm invited into a lot of stuff I don't realize I've actually accepted until I'm all the way in it, and I'm like, what happened? I'm very. I'm just.
How'd I get here?
Well, I heard Dolly Parton say this, and I'm like, that's right. I was born with a happy heart. I really was. And so I find myself like I end up at like a Klan rally. And I'm like, what did I do? That's a joke. I'm like, but I mean, I end
Which
up in
left turn did I
I
make?
end up in these places, and I'm like, wait a minute. I'm not party this. What happened? So yeah, I have had a lot of that, and I've tried to maybe get a little more aware as I grow older. But the black wedding ring, I've seen it in action. One was a gold ring with a solid black center, which I kind of think was just a sort of stylistic choice. The other one was a solid black ring. Solid black.
Dear
just for no other
listener.
purpose than this is my black ring.
If you have a friend who has, or if you have a black wedding band and you don't know why you keep getting propositioned, tell your friends this is why. Tell yourself this is why. You didn't realize that you Amy'd yourself into a situation that was not good. That was not, well, or very good. You make the call. But you didn't know. I really feel like there are people who thought, do you want platinum? Do you want gold? You know what? This vulcanized rubber is really, well,
Does he
I
have
think
that?
this
Can you
is
get
so
that with a pineapple, maybe?
upside down pineapple saying all are welcome. I do have a very dear friend who does participate in these activities. And I just mentioned her recently to someone else because I went on to find my friends just to see if my son had left the beach on his way home after the new year. And I saw that hers said Bahamas. And then she's away right now. And somebody said to me, why are you tracking your friends? And I said, oh, no, just this one, because she engages in very risky behaviors.
Risky.
Like driving 3 hours into the Poconos to find a couple who's having a party, but
okay.
there are no light bulbs in any of the lamps. They're filled with like hot
Blood.
wax and yes. And I'm like, first of all, you have a child. You need to tell me where you are when you go on these excursions.
You're so cute. I don't think that you need to self-appoint Melissa and team as
doesn't
the
have a
sex
big
worker
family.
safety squad. I just think, you know.
She's not working. The only job she's doing is handy and blowy, and it's because she asked for it. So
I have to say, it's just so strange to get my head around it. So we have to immediately go to if she and he are intelligent and able to self-direct their activities, then go with God. If they're not harming themselves or harming anyone else, have fun and go live your life. Go live your life.
agree
Where I-
100%.
my concern for these kinds of activities, and just you immediately remove any kind of risk of sexual harm, risk of physical harm. Those are
Why
just,
are you removing that? I'm
No.
absolutely terrified that she drives in the middle of nowhere for people she met online who are interested in the same weird
you
pain
could be
slash-
talking about someone going to a yard sale based on a listing. So at the same time,
That
there's-
bothers me too.
Okay,
Stephen
so
Avery, do
check
not.
check your bother. My point is, good for you to be concerned about with logical sense,
Yeah.
putting yourself in increasingly risky areas. When you're in Europe, you get in a car and you drive 3 hours to meet people you don't know, to eat in strange places, and all the things. So I mean, there's an element of implied risk everywhere you go. I get that, and so the sex thing, I don't want to be too loose, and I don't want to be too provincial about it, but I do think it's just another element on something that is more or less has some baked in. Okay, use your sense. You walk down the street at night in the dark when theoretically no one is there to help you. You're going to behave differently. So when you put yourself in these situations, have a little wherewithal. All of that stuff. So if we can temporarily remove the risk of sexual harm and temporarily remove the risk of physical harm, right? Where's the harm in it? Well, okay, here's where the harm in it comes. It makes me nervous that there is intellectual, emotional harm going on, either in the form of you're doing this behavior because you're trying to solve some kind of thought pattern in your head that is a mismatch with all the love that we have for you, all the love that you have for yourself. Maybe there's some kind of a mismatch there.
You're
Maybe
saying
it's
she's
more than
got
just
daddy issues?
no, not in the slightest. Maybe it's more you can ride a roller coaster because you like riding a roller coaster. Somebody who sells their couch to get one more skydive in so they can pay for the plane fare maybe has a problem with adrenaline. Okay? So all I'm trying to say is there are lots of levels of participation and consent in the same way that I'll bring it home to me. I am a fat woman, all right? It doesn't mean that I have some deep, unsettled, dynamic power thing. I actually now am working with a doctor and learning that, hey, this is chemical and biological, and I'm taking medicine to try and fucking counteract the sensitivity to insulin that my body has. Guess what? And it's not something that I can just overcome by well wishes and fucking,
And
no to the
think
Cheetos.
system, right?
Yeah. So, okay. So there's this big, wide swath that we look at when we talk at folks who are doing things that are outside the typical with sex. And I just want to give them the courtesy to say, if you need to get your freak flag on because that's what's fun and fancy, good, but also spend an hour or two on one of those vacations sitting with yourself and really evaluating the why behind the behavior you're doing. In the same way that if you're drinking too much alcohol, if you're drinking alcohol in a way that makes you different than everyone else's consumption, if you're buying shoes in a way that makes you different than everyone else's consumption, sit and think about it for a minute. And if you're okay with the why of why you're doing it and the how of what you're doing, okay. Just don't do it mindlessly and wave this flag in defense of, I'm doing it and you're just a prude. You're just jealous, right? It's like these CrossFit people, right? They've deluded themselves into, that's another one, when you go way too crazy with it, when you're insane with it. I'm talking multiple workouts a day, every day.
And you're not on a professional sporting team and you're not getting paid for it.
That's a lot of workouts. That's a
Right.
lot of. So just think about the why of it. That's all. And then if your why is because I'm awesome and I can, then go stick your dick in the mashed potatoes. I mean, that's up to you.
If your why is because this is my self-care, okay. I just want her to be careful and screen, and because we do watch a lot of true crime in our house, and they all start with, she drove out at night through this swamp, and I'm like, what, drop a pin. Where are you? So I know. She kind of stopped telling me about her endeavors. So I
guess so now that we're publicly talking about it, but yeah.
No,
So this is your friend, Boom Boom Bambi. This is your friend. Yeah.
Yep. And she likes what she likes, and more power to her. She's like, do you ever take one of those pants hangers with the clippies on them and then turn it around and put it on your nipples? And I said,
ouch.
No. I don't know what else to say. No.
I feel like that's maybe not a universal conversation starter,
Pain,
but I'd be curious.
Right. Men talk about sports. Women talk about sexual pain.
Yeah,
No,
I'm blessed with sensitivity in that area. That's a hard ouch. I have witnessed, can I say, it's going to sound really strange and then I'll clean it up. I paid to watch my friend get her nipple pierced. I know that sounds really weird. It was a joke. We were all out together and she said, I'm thinking about getting my nipple pierced. And I
don't have any money.
No, I said, I'll pay for it if you'll do it. And she said, let's go. And so I went in there and I watched the whole thing. I mean, I've watched people get tattoos just simply because I'm a writer, whether I write things or not. I'm always about gathering up the experience. I'm not going to do it. It was fascinating in the way that watching a medical video was fascinating. And it was gross. It was super gross. And it hurt and to her because she experienced and expressed pain. Anyway, very weird. I don't know why. Ow. No. Leave them alone.
So leave the ladies alone. So in the past, I have discussed with you a friend that I have.
Yes, ma'am.
Who has not, and I love discussing this with you because you are a foodie and you do make everything delicious. And your experience with food is an experience, and that is joyful. So to have a friend who's never had a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, remember her? Or who has eaten one almond by the sliver with her front 5 teeth.
Wrong.
it's weird as fuck, and it's right. Melissa, how could you love someone like that? I do. Here's something I learned after spending a day and a half, 2 days with her this past week. She has a snack that she has made.
Oh, God.
And had it all the time. When would you have it? Would you have it after school? Would you? She said, no, I'm a grown up. I'm like, every day after what? When? She's like, you have too many questions. Let me just tell you what the snack is. All right. I too have questions.
Okay.
It was applesauce
Uh-huh.
with Crispix cereal and banana.
Oh, why? Oh, okay. Oh,
What?
God.
What is the? How do you? Is it filling? Is that why you have something like that? Is that why? Because it has a hint of sweet to it and a bit of crunch. Like I started
what's the follow-up? I have many questions. What's the follow-up?
I just looked
I
at
need
her
to
like,
understand the preparation method. Are we talking about all three of these are eaten on separate mouthfuls in
No.
rapid succession? Are we
No.
talking about the applesauce has Crispus mixed in with
Yes.
sliced bananas on top?
Yes.
Are we talking about you hollow out the
That
banana
second
like
one.
a boat and you fill it with applesauce and then you crush the Crispus dust on top and eat it
then you
parfait
eat
style?
it in the bathtub.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to say there's a lot of different ways that we could make this nonsense. You take the Crispix and you pound it out thinly, and then you bake it slightly so that it forms a sheet like a tuile, and then you can use that to scoop up the banana puree. I mean, there's lots of things that you could do. That would really beg the question: why are you doing it?
But
Really.
immediately you made it better than the picture that she drew for me about like the sweet. She said, I don't really like or eat yogurt. And if I don't like or eat yogurt, like, what's my choice? I'm like, not to eat yogurt. I don't understand why.
Okay.
So that's weird, though, right? That's
yes,
nothing you've
I
ever
don't
heard
eat
before.
yogurt. Let's jump to 2 fruits and a wheat.
Which, by the way, is the name of her autobiography. 2 fruits and a wheat.
I gotta.
Are you
tell
dying?
I apologize for the death. I do. I apologize, and you know what? If you would like to express your concern, I want you to write in to Amy's middle child at gmail.net.
We should get
We'll
that.
be reading. We'll be reading all that email.
We should sign up for that email of Amy's middle child at gmail.com.
Wow. Wowsies.
Did he get this sick also? Was this what he had?
He started it. He's the spreader. Of course he's the spreader. And then all he wants to do, now that he's healthy and well, snapping his fingers, walking down the street, can I go over to Bubba house? Can I Can I all the stupid stuff. Just
We have a new bagelry opening
Oh.
by us today or
Mazel
tomorrow.
tov. Yes.
First of all, bagelry. I love it. I love it. The name is Spread.
Gross. That was
Oh,
made
I
for
love
you.
It. I
was made
love
for you.
it. So
Surprised
much.
you're not standing in front of that sign with a picture right now.
I want a T-shirt. Like I want it all. Spread. It's genius. Between Annie's restaurant toast,
Yes.
and spread. Oh my God, spread and toast and spread. I absolutely love it. It is the future of
I gotta
carb
say,
eating.
It's a good time. It's a good time. That
And right
sounds
next
like
to
a
it,
good
I think
time.
they're opening a brand new gluten-free bakery. Ain't nobody got time for
It's
that.
very sad for all those folks. I mean, I feel for you. I do. But at a certain point, you got to get that shit fixed some other way.
That North Carolina student has a roommate who is gluten-free. I said, is she celiac? Because to me, and she said she just doesn't eat gluten. So for Hanukkah, my daughter got her best friend who goes to the University of North Carolina a sweatshirt that says, I love gluten.
Ah!
And she tried it on. It fit perfectly. It was, she said, I cannot wait to go back to school and wear this hoodie. I'm like, yeah, that's great. You are
Making
all
friends,
you're
being
all
loving.
antagonistic, and I don't know from where it comes, but
That's God's way. That's the Southern way.
be kind or be quiet. That's our rule here. Kind or quiet.
Or kind of quiet. That's kind of how it,
Be
if you
kind
can't do both.
of a bitch.
Bam, bam, bam.
Just so you know, our next conversation off pod is a new place to hawk that T-shirt because it is got a couple of sales for the holiday, but we need a better platform.
I agree. And I think that we have, all of us, evolved past the original platforms that were created and touted for those of our ilk. There are lots of other opportunities for us to present swag for those who wish it, and to create opportunities for you to contribute to the show for those who wish it. We are grateful for both. And the rest of it is a lot of effort and energy and, frankly, expense that goes unvalued by anyone, us included. So we're going to strip back from all of those things in the same way that we're revamping how we manage some of the extended downstream things like cover art and doing better and differently with the show notes, things like this. So if you've noticed some of those changes, more changes are coming. And if you haven't noticed, case in fucking point, it was a lot of effort and energy
noticed,
for
and nobody
something.
gave a shit, right? We're
Yes,
killing
that
ourselves.
we're,
and you're
you
like,
know, the tick, the talk, the algorithm doesn't care what you put in show notes at all. So don't do it, because I'm tired of doing it. And now we're going to post the show. So anyway, there it is.
I do love it when we go to podcasting conferences and they say the best way, you know, if you're a comedian and you name a town that someone lives in, they cheer and you get applause for, and people know how to go out on a high note, and you're the best audience. They have exactly the words to say to make an audience erupt. In a podcasting conference, which literally none of you care about, but I'm sharing anyway, Amy can walk up and say, show notes, am I right? And the entire room will explode with their, I fucking hate writing show notes. So they just go absolutely crazy. So when she does that, or I hear that, I just laugh so hard, which is not the response they're looking for. They're looking for the, oh my God, I know, totally, which I will not give you. Whether you ask me if I'm from New York or whether you say show notes, am I right? I'm not giving you. It's too easy. Work harder. I want you to work for my laughter.
Thank you with your lazy podcasting gags. I love it.
Low-hanging fruit. And for this new year, dear listener, in 2023, you are better than that. Know it. Reach high for that fruit. Go for it. You are capable, and you're more than capable. You really, you've got this. You own it, and you have the support of two crackhead women on this podcast. So
you really do. I feel like you're wrapping up, and I want to just slip something in. Hey,
slip it in, baby. Slip it in.
Oh, I just want to slip it in. So
Plenty of room.
here's what it comes down to.
Gaping hole. Fill it.
And now we're back. I don't feel like that really. It's not. I think that's maybe.
I did not scatologically talk at all this
I don't know.
podcast. So
I don't feel like. Oh, I didn't. Oh, you meant in the. Oh, wow.
Any hole. Just fill the
Golly
hole,
day.
Amy.
I think the idea is that the holes are supposed to be tiny. They're supposed to be tight.
And
If my
output
rap
only.
consumption is correct, the smaller the hole, the better. Yes.
Okay. Sure.
Yeah.
Wrap. Yeah.
So wide open Grand Canyon legs is maybe not the universal advertisement that you want to bring all the anacondas to the milkshake area.
Go ahead. Carry on with your
Okay,
hole.
so I was actually going to tell you something about 2023, but you just reminded me with your sexy talk that I accidentally did the funniest thing yesterday on the ride home. We had two boys, one of mine, one of another family, in the back, driving them home, long drive. And it reached that point in the dark night of the drive. We'd been in the car many hours where they were just being silly and goofy, and they were whispering to each other for no reason, right? They're right next to each other. We're all in the car, and the one leans over and he starts going,
It was about sports.
They're
wasn't
just
it? They're
dumb.
boys.
They're just being
Yeah.
dumb, and everybody's punchy, right? So he leans over, and I overhear something along the lines of, "You're gonna play this game with me? Hey, you're gonna play this game with me?" So they were like, "Let's play a game on our phones together," right? And the one says to the other, "You're gonna play this with me? You're gonna play this with me? You're gonna play this with me? Big titty sex? You're gonna play big titty sex with me? Big titty sex?"
I'm sorry. What the fuck
And they're
did
giggling.
you just say?
And I said, "What?" And they said it again, louder this time. Big titty sex.
It's a game.
And
on
I
the phone?
said, as loud as my voice would go, "Big titty sex." And they said,
no.
"Balloon SX." So they were playing some balloon game with it, for the way that my ears were clogged and the cabin sounded. And this was at exactly the moment that on the speakerphone, the father of that young child called. And I'm now screaming as it answers big titty sex. Okay. And he's like, yeah, it sounds like you guys are.
You got this covered.
You're
don't
doing
need me.
okay. I don't know what's happening in that car, but
I think you
okay.
do. I think you do know.
Big titty sex. I got to actually get the accurate name of that thing because it was, I'm telling you, you would have thought it was big titty sex. And then the dad's laughing and he goes, I think I like Amy's game better. No, gross. Okay. So
Burrito.
I would like to hearken back
Harkin.
to Melissa's of yore, our favorite yore.
Calling
And
me
that-
on my bullshit.
And that is when at a party, a gathering,
okay.
you brought an activity and a memory and a moment for us to all participate in, and it included a mallet. That's always good news.
I loved.
right?
Yeah, I love that stuff.
So there were these jewelry that it's like a cast die system where you hammer in a word into a piece of flexible metal, and then that becomes the jewelry, and you wear it. So you have a word of intention for the coming year. And we all picked our words. And they were very important and special and double-edged. Mine was double-edged. It was equal parts, very serious and important to me, and super silly. So I win twice. But this year, I have a word. I don't have the jewelry. I still have your jewelry somewhere, but I don't have can't make a bracelet for it. But I have a word. I'm going to share it with you because I really feel like it's a great one. And I invite you to think about having a word for yourself if you don't have one off the top of your head. And my word for 2023 is reset. Reset. I'm going to reset everything. Because it is a larger word than reduce, thin out, refocus, energize. Everything is just going to be reset. I'm just doing a start over, a reset on every aspect, all levels, everywhere, all the time. When in doubt, reset.
To factory settings.
Better than factory settings. I'm doing a complete wipe and upgrade to reset everywhere. And starting with this office, not starting with, including this office at the top somewhere. So there's so many little areas where I don't like the amount of crap and dirt and can't findedness in the house to be able to think that on a whim, somebody would have to come in and find something else for me or after me. It's just not okay. So I don't want to do. I don't want to do the work. But the other thing is, once it happens and you go through that difficult pain of doing it, the lightness and the energy that you feel and the volume of good things that flow in to that area that were clogged up before, it's like having nasal passages like mine right now. Aww. You don't want to spend your whole life stopped up, clogged up. Everything has energy. Everything has energy, and it is prevented by all of the crap and the baggage that you're storing and carrying around in your body, in your mind, in your cells, in your closets, in your garage, in everywhere. There is so much, and to take as long as it takes and the gift of a year, maybe more, to do that reset instead of this weird 2020 urgency of if you don't do this in the next 90 days, you're going to explode and you're worthless. Not about that. If everything is about a reset, sometimes when you reset things, it takes 3 minutes for the TV to reset. Okay. Maybe it's going to take more than 3 minutes to reset this whole office or this whole body, but it's coming. And I'm going to focus on the reset until everything is reset. And then fucking watch out because you don't know how good I am. If you think I'm good now, I'm the worst. This is the worst it gets. You're going to have your dog blow the fuck off. Yeah, it's going to be very exciting. It's going to be very exciting for you, I think, that I'm going to do this. So that's my word.
Reset.
Bingo. Reset.
My new bracelet would say less. So yes, I like.
You're sticking with it?
I am.
You're trying to do the shut off my voice and choke me down?
Yeah, a little bit. Not everybody needs to know my opinion. And if they do want to hear it, I have a podcast.
Let me ask you, what are you going to do with your opinion when you withhold it?
Swallow it down, turn it off like a light switch. I don't know. I'm going to try to say.
That's the part that I want answers.
I look forward to seeing how this works out for you, sweetheart. I don't know. Yell it in my husband's ear. Isn't that his job to listen to all of my?
Here's my knee-jerk fear when I hear you
for me,
pursue this line of thinking in the same way you didn't like my professional organization, which had some value for me, right? It had some risk and had some value. Here's the risk I see in this for you.
Go ahead.
Red flag waving, arms in the air, stop, cliff level risk. I don't want you in the business of shutting down your voice for anyone, including yourself. I don't. So if you're having thoughts that are taking your mindset, your relationships, your contributions, your self-worth in a direction you don't like, I want you to get those thoughts out of you and process them, as opposed to immediately, not my thought, not my... I mean, there's ways to do it, not my thought, not my problem, that are Zen. There are ways to do it that are healthy, that are cleansing, and there are ways to do it that can create, that are damaging, that are no different than stuffing it in a box, putting that box in the attic, moving it 7 times, and still having this box of bullshit that you're dragging around that's weighing you down, that's energetically not good for you. So the whole idea is, if you want to change your thought pattern, if you want to change your expression of your thoughts, I would spend a little bit of time investigating healthy ways to do it. There's people who... yoga people who say one of the meditation practices is to take your hands and scoop the energy and the ideas visually. Take your hands from both hips and raise them up to in front of your eyes, and then push your hands away from your eyes, almost as if I place my problems in front of the universal eye and I let you take it away from me. So it's almost there. I mean, whatever people who know what this is are going, she's describing it wrong. I mean, my point to you is, there's a physical act of saying, this is not for me to deal with. This is for other forces to deal with. Then there's the simple act of writing it down in a journal, closing the journal, put that in a book. Right. You can Goldie Hawn approach this, and you can do a naked dance around your fire pit in the backyard and have a bonfire, which she does every year.
From the windows to the wall.
And I think her life is going pretty much okay.
I'll say.
Yeah. So maybe her nude fire dance is something that you want to adopt. You might like that too, with or without the nipple clamps. Bring your kooky friend.
I don't want those. That's not for me. Pain
Okay.
is not for me. Pleasure is for me.
I think that the idea that you want to channel your communication and focus and make your discourse appropriate to the audience is great. That to me is very different than I'm just going to shut myself down because the people around me are forcing me to fundamentally close myself into a smaller version.
Okay,
I don't want. I don't want.
So my theory was it's a better tagline with say less, because I can't always promise you I'm going to think before I speak, which is really what the promise is and the hope is. I'm going to do some calculations. I'm going to say in my head, is telling you the answer to this going to... Remember I sent you that think thing that was like, is it
Yes. Is
true?
it true? Helpful, inspiring, nice, kind.
Is it all of
Think.
those things? Like, is it no? Is it one of those things? Then why are you trying to say
It's not nice. It's not nice. Is it true, helpful, inspiring, necessary,
necessary? That's right.
kind?
And kind. And for us, it was always be kind or be quiet. And I somehow lost track of that. You talked about being a nicer human last time.
Yeah, that's part of my reset.
Yes.
I'm have a happy heart. I am a kind person. I love other people. I want what's best for them. For many years, my default setting was to have the best for everyone else, and I was not part of the everyone else group. It was really just about the best for others. So part of the reset is I get to be in that group.
You joined the group.
And
That's
I also get to do it in a way that's balanced, where it doesn't mean putting me in the group now means I'm doing less for others. So I find that in the past 3 years, my go-to move of helping others, I mean, honestly, my reflex action when things would go bad
reflex.
in my life, without thinking, I would immediately plunge into service for others. It was as simple as if I feel a sneeze coming on and then the sneeze happens. I didn't think about it. It's just, that was my go-to move. I didn't invent that. It wasn't a pattern I created. And then I realized, oh, that's how lucky I am that that's the way that goes. Well, then once I identified it, I stopped doing it. Because it was like the joke wasn't funny anymore because somebody explained it, you know? So I want to get that back, where I need to...
Happy heart. Joy. You lead
I
with
need to
joy.
help others. Reset. Time to reset.
Oh, Amy, I'm looking forward to another great year with you. 2023 at the mic. Bring
That's
it.
right. Yeah, I'll try to come a little healthier too. Hey, reset. That counts for reset. Counts
It
for
does.
reset. And you know what? Say less, Melissa. I got you.
I will.
Thank you for
say
coming,
less.
gang. She's going to say less and I'm going to say more. Big surprise. We appreciate you. We're excited for you and to hear all of your words for 2020. Use your words, fuckers. We can't wait to hear it. And
You
with
did
that,
it perfectly.
bye. I don't even need these underpants.